Okay, so this one, I'm, yeah, I think this one is my favorite thus far. See, we go from one extreme to the next extreme. Is why I keep hanging on and hanging on down here to the country. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Lovecraft Country, and this is season 1, episode 8. Like I talked last week, I did not like last week's, and a lot of people say, "Oh, I didn't miss anything." I just did not like it. I don't like deep down sci-fi when you start with aliens, like little big head aliens and actual spaceships and stuff. I'm done. I literally will check out. I just don't. It's not my thing. I mean, I could do a space thing, but when it get real corny space, like really like Lost in Space type space, I can't do it. I could do sci-fi as far as like the Twilight Zone. That's Twilight Zone is everything. But real little big head aliens and fake spaceships hung from a string and then you film it, I don't like that. I ain't never like that. Anyway, but this episode got back to my type of genre. This was all a ode. This whole episode was an ode to Freddy Krueger, who I absolutely love. Absolutely love. This had Freddy all over, baby. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. I was here for it. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, grab the crucifix. 7, 8, stay up late. Anyway, 9, 10, never sleep again, man. Anyhow, they started off with the whole Emmett Till thing. Bobo, the situation has happened with Emmett Till. They just sent the body, and the body's all just terrible, and that whole situation was going on. And then there was this uprising and all of that. Hippolyta is not back. We don't know what happened. Don't know where she is. I guess she's still floating around in space. D ends up going missing in the crowd. Okay, so D is really angry because she's doing the same thing like with Hippolyta, that people are lying to her. She knows it. People are lying to her. About where her mama's at, this, that, thing, and the other. And it's been all these weeks and she ain't back. Then D ends up having this little run-in with the cops. And they have that piece of the comic. And they're like, "Diana, are you Diana?" And she's like, "Yes." So here we go. This is the whole thing. Remember, Hippolyta is really Hippolyta. And Diana, the Wonder Woman. So that's the whole thing. So I'm like waiting to see what that all works out from. But those are the characters. And it is that even came up. D had this run in with the cops. And he did this whole little spell on her. Y'all know the little chief. He did the spell on her, put this spit on her forehead. And there was it's always something creepy and crawly and slithery, which is I can't stand. Anything that moves like this, I can't stand it. But that was on the ground and stuff was going on. But he put this spell on her. I touched her, put this spit on her forehead, and the bugs was on the ground, and all of this kind of carrying on. It was like, okay, cool. I don't know what the spell was, and he put chalk on the ground and all this mess. And they asked her about her mother, and she said later in the episode she started getting like irritated, and she started saying what she had to say. And D will cuss you out. And she told him, she said, because they said something about these you all and these nigger names, and she ended up telling the one cop. She said, because she went to the I'm gonna get to it. Because I'm jumping ahead. Anyway, but he said something about Hippolyta's name, and she says, "What's your mama's name?" Hippolyta. She said, "It's Hippolyta," and he said, "These nigger names," and he went on. He was ignorant self. So that was that. She goes on home. When she went home again, now she's all irritated and scared and what's going on, and she ends up sitting there in the room, and one of the books came off the shelf and fell on the ground, and it's the book of Uncle Tom's Cabin. But the illustration in the front had two little girls, and there was one was a white girl and the other was a black girl. The black girl was a jiggaboo. It was that you know that the way a jiggaboo, they describe a jiggaboo, okay, with the little pigtails and the teeth ain't good and all that. So it's just like a little jiggaboo. And there's a little white girl standing behind her, all clean and stuff. The little jiggaboo got a little dirty dress, and her hair's a mess, and all of this. So that just like fell off the counter onto the floor. And she had actually had some words back and forth with Montrose, and she had told Montrose, she had cussed Montrose out and told him they lying about her mom and this, that, and the other. She went on off about her business. Okay, she went off about her business. Hold that right there. We're gonna get back to D, okay? Because D played a large part in this episode. So now we got Tick and Christina have this conversation. They meet up. He told her, teach me how to cast a spell. And that's when she told him basically that the words are not enough. You have to have intention, a body, and energy. But the words are not enough. And they ended up making this deal. He told her, she said she wanted the orrery. He said, I can give you the orrery, but that ain't what you really want. It's this key. So he got the key. So they end up making a deal. She basically ends up telling him, but she wants immortality is what she wants. She wants immortality, period. And he ends up giving her the key. She tells him basically how to cast a spell. And she tells him good luck. Okay? Now, I didn't catch it at that time, but it all made some sense. I was like, why are you like feeling like he's like all over the place? I'm like, this is crazy. In the meantime, in between time, Letty then got a visit. Baby old Zhao, was her name Joy or Zhao? The girl with the foxtails. She done made her way to Chicago. She done sat up in there. She talking to Letty. She's sitting up to talking to Letty. I said, oh, Lord. In the meantime, when all that was going on, then Tick ends up coming back. Then the three of them have a conversation. It's a big old blowout. It was a whole mess. A whole mess. Tick ends up telling Zhao or Joy, because Letty got mad. Letty was like, why didn't you tell me about her? This, that, and the other. Letty then found out that he was in love with her. And she's pregnant. And she goes on, he says to her, our shit wasn't real. And I'm not dying. Get the fuck out. I told her, get out. Okay? So that was that. You can see she was all heartbroken and everything. But she told her story about the 100 men and all of that. And that was just a mess. And Letty and Tick were fussing real bad. And she told him, everybody but you done died since you've been back. Everybody but you is dying all around you. Everybody except for you. So they're having this whole little situation. So that just further put him into a position where he's like, feel like he has to cast this spell. And the spell is basically to save the family. To save the family. It gets deeper. Anyway, while all this is going on, Ruby done went on back. Okay, now remember there was an uprising about the whole thing with Bobo, and people are angry. You know how black folks get when stuff go down. Okay? And the white folks is just like, whatever. You mad? And so there ends up being this sex scene, baby. Now, Ruby, I said, what is going on? What in the lesbian hell is going on here? Ruby and William, babe, get ready to start getting down. Ruby ends up taking the potion. Like she didn't want to have sex with William as Ruby. So she turns into the white woman. And they have sex. But part of the way through, she comes up out of the whole white woman's skin. And they have this whole sex thing. And I was like, okay. Of course it's disgusting. It's a bunch going on. And it's just like this crazy thing because even with the spell and them putting themselves in the other bodies, there's a whole thing where like Ruby and Christina have a whole thing going on. Like there's a thing they got going on. Okay, it's a whole lesbian relationship. But you know, for the formality, child, she gets herself into Williams so she can have her penis and tear her down. So that's that. Now D is out on the town, and this is when it gets good to me, baby. She ends up running into what I'm going to call the Jiggaboo twins, honey. It's two of them, honey. Two of the little Jiggaboo girls, but baby, they are like really giving. And when they get close to her, their fingernails start to grow like they're trying to get her. And she's like trying to get away from them. And they're right out in plain sight. Okay, they're right out in plain sight, but nobody can see them. Just D. She could. That's all. They didn't ended up all day. They chasing her all around town. Chasing her all around town. They followed her all the way back to the house. She ended up leaving the house. She ended up going down to the police station. And that's when she had the conversation with the police officer and told her, what did you do to me? What did you do when you put that spit on me? This, that, thing, and the other. And he's, talking to her, and he tells her, I could take the curse off of you, but I need something from you. Here, he wants the orrery, okay? She ends up telling him, some stuff about her mother, and he's like, whatever, and figure out he don't really care, and all of that. She spit on him and told him to hell with him, and she told him that it stunk. She said it stinks in here, and she told the other one about the one that called her mother the nigger name. She said it's Greek, you asshole. And she went on, and I said, there we go. Hippolyta is Hippolyta. Diana is Diana Prince. She is Wonder Woman. And I just want to see how that's all going to play out. But I didn't get my thing. It didn't start to play out that way. It started to play out more in this Freddy Krueger thing. They're chasing her. They're chasing her, chasing her, chasing her all over town. Now, let me tell you how I got my life off the Jiggaboo twins, honey. Because the Jiggaboo twins really start showing their ass. Like, the more we went through the story, the more we seen them. These two whores started doing, like, whole choreography. They were dancing, and there was, like, this little song, little Jiggaboo song playing in the background, and that, little song about they're gonna get you and stuff. And they was doing, baby, they was doing this choreography and getting down. Now, I done got all out of the story. I started getting life off the Jiggaboo twins. I said, girls, y'all better get it, baby. You thought you was at a Beyonce concert. The Jiggaboo twins was getting down, okay? I said, Lord have mercy. So I'm laughing when I think I wasn't supposed to be laughing. I think I was supposed to be scared of them because they really look terrible. They really were creepy. They did a very good job, but them Jiggaboo twins was something else. Anyway, back with the sex situation with Ruby and William. Everybody's back to their own selves. Ruby and Christina have a conversation, and Ruby tells Christina, I want you to be angry like I'm angry. I want you to care like I care. And don't you feel anything about what happened? And she told her the truth. She said, I don't care nothing about no black boy being drugged, child. And no, I don't care. I don't care about that. And she told her, and I don't think you care either, really. If you really get in touch with your feelings, you don't care about that. She said, and you took the potion. She said, I took the potion because I didn't want to screw William as a black woman. She said, no. The reason why you took the potion is because you want to be a woman who gets whatever it is that she wants. And that's what you were doing. You were getting what you wanted. Period. I said, girl, she's pulling your card, honey. She's pulling your card. So that was that. The two of them are a lot alike, honey. They are selfish, both of them. So that was that. Let's move on. Okay. So Tick and Montrose. Tick is talking about he gonna cast this spell or all this kind of carrying on. He ends up running into Montrose, and they ended up having a chat. And he told him he never acted upon his homosexual tendencies and desires while his mama was there. He didn't do anything with Sammy or anybody else until after his mother had left. Once his mother left, that's when he actually went ahead and did that. And he's like, he started telling the story of why he was so afraid to even tap into his dark arts is because when he was young, he saw a pastor that there was like a rumor that the pastor had messed around with somebody, with another male. And you know, back in the day, homosexual acts in a lot of places is just against the law. So, period. Like two men couldn't dance together and stuff. They used to raid clubs and stuff. This was even in New York. They would raid clubs, and if you were in there and the boys was dancing with the boys, honey, you going to jail for dancing with the boys. I said, oh, child, I'd have been locked up, honey. Baby, I'd have been locked up, honey. They locked my ass up, but I've been getting it at him. But anyway, so he said that they ended up putting the pastor, and it was the pastor that was doing, they put him in an asylum. Other people ended up dead, this whole thing. So he went through that story. Then Tick started telling him about the book. Started telling him about the book, started telling him about casting a spell and all of this to protect the family. And that's when it started to make sense. When Tick ended up telling Montrose, Letty is pregnant. And he said, what do you mean Letty's pregnant? How do you know? He said, she ain't told me yet. He said, what do you mean? How do you know? He said, because Hippolyta ain't the only one that went into the vortex. He said, I went into the vortex and I came back out. He said, but I went to the future. And he showed him the book. And the book is H.P. Lovecraft. It's Lovecraft Country. And the author of the book's name is George Freeman. But it ain't Uncle George. It's Tick and Letty's son, who is named after Uncle George. So I said, okay, so that's it. He has the body, he got his intention, and definitely the energy. The intent is to save everything because everything got to go on, and it got to be what it got to be because everything got to go. You like the son got to live, and the son got to. It got to happen. Everything got to be cool. So the family got to be protected so they can't kill the family. Now, Letty and Christina end up having a conversation. They at the church, baby. They get down there, have the church. Letty tells Christina she'll give her the negatives of Titus's pages if she will do a spell on Atticus of invulnerability. And Christina got up and told her no. She told her no. She told her no. And she told Letty, I won't do it for you. I mean for him, but I'll do it for you. You know how she feel about men. She said, I'll do it for you. I'll make you invulnerable, but not Atticus. So she almost let her walk out, and then she thought about it, thought about the fact that she's pregnant and all that. Christina don't know, but thought about the fact that she's pregnant and all that, and she said, okay, cool. It's a good thing she did it. Oh my God, it's a good thing she did it, but she did it. Okay? Now, Tick already knows that he's going to die. Okay? When he does the spell, he said that Christina, in the book he read, Christina is going to turn on him to become immortal, and he's going to die. Okay? So he's going to actually counteract all that by doing the spell and sacrificing himself as the body to literally to make the family protected. And so that will actually, his body, he'll already be dead. That'll stop Christina from becoming immortal because she can't use his body as the body. And that'll be that because he'll already be dead. So he had a whole plan. So that's that, okay? And the little song, child, and like I said, all while this is going on, we see more and more of the two little jiggaboo twins. Child, and they're doing that something's knocking at the door. I said, child, this little song is wearing me out. That cop, which when D snapped out on them and walked out, the other cop was like, you know, what we going to do with the girl? He going to say, fuck her. The girl, she's dead already. So she's dead already because he didn't remove the curse, and he knew eventually she gonna slip and the damn twins is gonna get her. Okay? Because that's what she's asking him. What happens if they catch up to me? And he's like, I can remove it, but you got to do something for me, honey. She's like, fuck you. You know, so that was that. So D start, you know how you get where you like just are angry and you're like, okay, I'm sick of this shit. She start like going at the twins. She start going at them. Then she lured them, honey. She lured them into, she got herself into this store. There was all these books and different things. She got herself a pipe and she lured them in. Okay? And she was drawing stuff, and I don't know what that was about, but she was drawing pages. I don't know what that was about, but she was drawing these pages. I said, what you doing, D? But anyway, luring them to come. At that time, Tick and Montrose end up doing the spell. They start talking. Montrose ended up telling Tick, I'm going to do the spell as opposed to you doing the spell. So he sacrificed it himself. And he went to try to read the spell, and that's what he said. I see the words backwards. He said, I'm dyslexic. And he said, is there any other secrets that you had from me? Montrose got real quiet and just stood there for a minute. And I said, oh. I swear I got this feeling that Montrose actually killed George. I really do. But he there's something else he ain't telling them. And also, he ain't telling them that he ain't really his dad. He ain't told him that yet either. So, he ain't telling him that George is really his dad. He still don't know. Anyhow, they did the spell, but then nothing happened. Like, nothing happened. So we were like, okay, well, what the heck? Ain't nothing happened. You know, Montrose didn't die. They said, you feel different? No, I don't feel different. Okay, cool, no problem. Tisk, tisk. So, ends up going on. Christina ends up dealing with these two guys, and she ended up copying Emmett Till's death. She done went off, got the key, did the stuff. She done did a spell. She redid Emmett Till's death, even with the barbed wire stuff, had it tied around her neck, put a tire or something on her, and threw the guys beat her up, did her in, tied it around her neck, and drug her into the water, which would have killed her. And she ended up living right through it, coming right back. So she was laying on the pier, screaming and yelling and laughing because she done cracked this whole thing. And now here she is. She's immortal. Now, I'm wondering now, because we ain't seen Montrose, where is Montrose? Where's Montrose? Because now we already know she's supposed to turn on Tick, but she's already immortal now. So what? I don't know. It was weird. It was weird. So let's just go to this whole thing. They go to the house. We go to the house. Letty and Ruby are in the house. They going back and forth. Ruby's telling Letty, I know about magic. This, that, thing, the other. She's telling her about her and Christina's involvement. And she's telling her, girl, no, she's playing you. She's playing you, Ruby. And Ruby's like, no, no, no. She's like, no, girl, she is. She's playing you. So they had that little thing going on. Dee and the twins end up going through their little thing. Okay? Twins show up. She fighting them. Getting down. Busting their ass with this pipe. Busting their ass. Montrose comes in. He just thinks that Dee is just going off. Because remember, she cussed him out earlier. He thinks she's just going off. So he's like, what are you doing? And because he can't see the twins. Because remember, can't nobody see them but Dee. And their nails is out, baby. And they're attacking her. And she's lighting their asses up. And Montrose comes and takes the pipe off of her. And he's holding her, like consoling her. And you're looking at her arms and it's doing the Freddy Krueger thing. Baby, they are slicing her and dicing her. But they're going at her arteries. They're going at her arteries to try to take her out. And I'm like, Montrose, you big goddamn dummy. You're getting Dee killed with your stupid shit. So I said, okay, we ain't see. I said, maybe they'll get Montrose too, because it cut out right there. So I said, maybe they'll stab him up while he, because he getting on my nerves anyway. I'm just sick of him. Anyway, so back at the house, we got that going on. Back at the house, the cops come to the house, and they're going to try to bum rush their way in the house because they believe that the orrery is in the house. Lord have mercy. It's actually over at Hippolyta's house, but whatever. It don't matter because the key ain't in it anyway. They try to bum rush their way in. There's the field on the door. They can't get in. So they know that the house is protected, okay? So then they just start shooting the house up. So we got Letty in there, we got Ruby in there, and they're shooting the house up, shooting the house up, shooting the house up. And I don't know, they were hiding first. They were like getting down and staying down. And then Letty, I don't know if it clicked to her. Like, let me see. Because this shit ain't supposed to really bother me. I'm supposed to be cool. And she sat up, baby, and the bullets were just ping, ping, ping off her. Like, you know, Superman shit. They're just pinging off of her because she's covered. She's covered. Now, I don't know about Ruby. I don't know about Ruby, but Ruby was over there hiding. I said, girl, you better hide because I don't think you covered. You're going to be tore up. So, Letty is like getting, you know, shot, but the bullets is just bouncing off. She's looking outside. And here, up walks Tick. Tick walks up, and now he's like, oh my God. And they done pulled the gun on Tick now. And Letty's like running. She runs out of the house to try to go run and stand in front of Tick. Because she know Tick ain't covered. Or so she thought. And they shoot at Tick, baby. Baby. And she's running toward him. And baby, that bullet was coming slow motion. Get ready to fire Tick up. Baby, the whole ground just said. And up jumped one of them monsters. You remember the monsters from the beginning, from the first episode. Tick is protected as well. The monster came up out of the ground. And baby leaped out there and got to chewing their asses up and tearing them cops down. Tearing their asses up. All of them. All of them. Tearing them up. And that was that. And at the end, the monster ended up turning back around. You know, after he done chewed up all the things. And Tick is standing there. Letty standing behind Tick. And the monster came and he's like, going, and I don't know if the monster, you know, they kill everything in sight. So I think he was going to try to go after, it was there to protect Tick, but I think maybe it was going to go after Letty, and Tick put his hand on the monster's forehead, and the monster just stopped. So he literally has control over the monster, and now he's protected. Letty is immortal, and we don't know what's going on with Dee. And I'm like rooting for them to kill Montrose because I'm like sick of him. But baby, listen, that was it. This was, I think, my favorite so far because I got my life off the Jiggaboo twins. And the ending of this episode was good, like the first one. Like it took me back to the first one. That whole thing, I was so excited with the whole ground tearing up and the monster tearing up. Yeah, we back on track. I hope we can stay on track. I can't take another trip to space. I can't. But anyway, this was good. I enjoyed this. Jiggaboo twins is where it's at. They a whole mess. They a whole Freddy Krueger-ass mess, and they look terrible. With their heads is just nappy and carrying on their little dirty dresses and their little roll-down socks. Look like they crawled up out the grave. They look a mess, honey. They do. They look a mess, but they can dance. All right, y'all. Get in the comments. Let's have a conversation. The week is young. Let's go.